Well, here we are. We're at the end of another tournament. Another grand finals has taken place. And, at least for right now, another win for Team Spirit. Today, we had the conclusion of the first ever Blast Bounty, Eternal Fire, Team Spirit, a best of 5 to the bitter, grueling end, money on the line, Zontaros and Woxic versus Donk and Shiro. And at the end of it all, Spirit reaffirmed once again why right now, there is no one who come closest to them in the world. They are the best team in Counter-Strike, and not even an extremely hot, extremely fun Eternal Fire team could put a stop to them. So let's conclude the festivities by taking a look at how we got there. Before we get started, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as it helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys once again for joining me for another round of recaps. If you want to help me out even more, consider following me on my Twitch channel, linked in the description down below. I stream Sunday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll be live tonight playing Counter-Strike, talking about the finals. Come hang out. Without any further ado, let's get into our first game. So our 5 maps, should we need them, are going to be Anubis, Nuke, Dust 2, Mirage, and the closer would be on the brand new train. Now, the first game of this series was quite interesting. This is one of the weirdest games of Anubis I have seen at this level of play in quite a long time, because both teams flipped the paradigm of this map on its head. Both CT sides for Eternal Fire and Spirit were overly dominant, both teams winning 9 CT half rounds, with Eternal Fire coming back from a 3-9 deficit to force overtime and then eventually win in that first overtime to take the series lead 1-0, which is just shocking. Not only are both of these teams elite T-sided players, they have some of the most aggressive riflers in the entire scene in Donk and Zontaros. So the fact that both neutralized the other's attacks in such a clear and straightforward way was just so odd, but also so entertaining, because every single round that Eternal Fire won on the second half was so hard fought, so well earned, and you thought at no point that this would be a real comeback. And then we get to 5 rounds, 6 rounds, 7 rounds, and you're like, no, surely Spirit aren't going to capitulate like this. Next thing you know, you blink and you miss it, it's overtime. Anyway, stepping back a little bit, it wasn't like there was anything noticeably wrong with either team from a tactical standpoint. It's just these side holds were so solid throughout the entirety of this game. Things were just on lockdown. Eternal Fire did just a fine job of spraying out their utility and trying to get, and sometimes succeeding in getting, that map control early on. They would go for late B hits or fast A hits. It just came down to the fact that Spirit were shooting straight to start off this game, and when they would get into the sites, Chopper would come out of nowhere with a 2 or a 3K. Zontix and Shiro would hold down A or what have you. What's interesting about this game to start off is how much it really was about the other players. Both Donk and Zontaros were kind of like not really relevant for most of the first half. They had their moments where they got some kills here or there. Donk had a ridiculous flick on the B site, but they were not having big impact plays. It was players like Shiro, Woxic, Wakadia, Zontix who were really bringing in the big numbers for both teams, which is interesting and something that definitely remarks on how deep both these teams are despite their star-heavy natures on the surface. Now, obviously, Spirit go up 9-3 on the CT side of Anubis. That screams blowout in pretty much every other universe but the one we're currently living in. So how did Eternal Fire mount this comeback? Well, I'm not saying this is the only reason, but this is kind of a massive reason. Here is a screenshot of the kill log for Donk from the in-game demo viewer during the second half. Now you see this chunk here is about 7 or 8 rounds in the first half. And as you can see here, he went, exactly 7 rounds with no kills. Donk, the best player in the world. And you see this round here where we got 3 kills and then died, you'd be like, oh, maybe that's a good round. Yeah, well, see, this is the round that Spirit nearly won the game, had everything on their side, including Donk in a 1v1 against Woxic with just a Tech 9, and Spirit could have won the match right here, 13-9, but Woxic, using the power of Turkish Devil Magic, gets this clutch, and the game stays alive. As you can see, right after, Donk goes back to basically getting no kills for the rest of regulation and well into overtime here. So yeah, all told here, this little chunk in the middle was about 4 kills in, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 rounds. Again, that's a little bit of a generalization. But if Donk only gets 3 kills for 15 deaths, yeah, that's going to be bad for Spirit. And importantly, what ultimately sealed this game, especially towards the end of overtime, was that while Donk maintained his struggles that started the game off, Zontaras didn't. He actually came online when his team needed it on that CT side and maintained that performance throughout. He ended with, I believe, 23 kills, and he capped off the game with this play here. And listen, the way Shiro plays in this game and throughout the rest of this series, I was convinced that he had at least a shot at winning this 1v5. But I mean, that would have been like one of the best plays of all time if he nailed it. So yeah, Eternal Fire, they cap off an unreal comeback and take the series lead 1-0. The weird part to think about in retrospect is that this is the last time in this series that Eternal Fire would win double-digit rounds. In fact, as we get into Nuke, bear in mind this is the first map Spirit have lost this entire event. The first map they've lost of this year. And they noticed, and they took it personally. Because Spirit did not allow Eternal Fire any breathing room for the rest of this series. It all starts with Nuke, another insanely dominant first half where despite losing the pistol round, that would be the only blemish on Spirit's T-side record as they would go on to win 10 straight rounds to close the half. Oh my god. Beyond that great Zontaras 3k in the pistol round, that's about all you get if you're an Eternal Fire fan for the rest of this game, pretty much. Because as soon as Spirit got guns in their hands, they started going to work. The first gun round, I really like how Spirit waste as much time on the clock as they can, and then at 40 seconds, they execute this great split push through upper and ramp at the same time to really pressure Eternal Fire into wondering where the hell the bomb is going to go. Even though Yada gets a great double kill boosted on top of the boxes with the MP9, the push out A was so effective that they can just instantly rotate the bomb back and leave Zontaras in a 1v3. Just great stuff because it keeps the defense guessing. Nuke is very much a cat and mouse game. You're either going to blitz within the first 20 seconds to get that map control, or you need to wait and deprive as much intel from the CTs as possible and then burst onto them suddenly and catch them off guard. If you give the CTs time to rotate and reinforce, you will never get anywhere, and Spirit are very aware of that. Also, this is a round I absolutely had to talk about. This was very rightly pointed out by Anders. Here on this 8th round, Chomper does a fantastic bit of just self-awareness in the mid-round calling, which is really cool to watch play out. What's going to happen here is they're going to rotate for a fast outside push. They're looking to accelerate straight through the secret. They throw the close red box cross smokes to do so, while Chopper goes on top of the marshmallow to cover. Now what's interesting here is that Donk is going to get an immediate pick on the outside player, and Chopper's going to call his bluff and make an immediate play to reinforce the round. See, what happens is, when you're Eternal Fire and you see the smokes go out, and right away you lose a man to that outside push, you know those players are getting down secret. You need to bring attention to that while leaving somebody behind to take care of a possible upper lurk or ramp lurk. So even though Mini is not smoked, Chopper immediately jumps around the corner to push to hell very fast and get behind the remaining defenders not downstairs. Now that's awesome, because you do not pull the trigger on that kind of push from this setup normally. You don't have any coverage for Mini, you don't know if there are any stragglers outside, but Chopper just makes a read. He takes a guess to get himself into a great position, and what it does, it destabilizes where Eternal Fire need to look. Because as soon as Yada gets shot in the back at ramp, now the callouts go quite crazy. Are they going upper? Are they going lower? Are they going ramp? Where the hell are they? It's just a great piece of initiative from the IGL, taking advantage of his own wherewithal to be like, no, I know my teammates are downstairs. They're going to be able to handle it. They don't need me. I could put myself into a great position to get a free kill here by just accelerating the pace. Yeah, so I mean, if this series wasn't already heading towards over, let me just put this into perspective for you. Eternal Fire won both pistol rounds, the conversions thereafter, and still only managed to win 6 total rounds for the game. Fuck. And this wasn't even like an overwhelming Donk game, mind you. He was just 17 for 15. Quite utilitarian from Donk. But, don't worry. He's gonna be here soon. Especially when we go over to Dust 2. So, by the way, I just want to throw this out there. Spirit are the best Dust 2 team in the world, and it's, like, not even close. And I remember vividly, not even that long ago, talking about how much I hated watching Spirit on Dust 2 because of how badly Chopper would call both their CT and T sides. So seeing how fast they've evolved, how much they've adapted, is unreal. Now, I've done a full video on my analysis of their CT sides. It was about that amazing game they played against FaZe. So I'll link that in the top corner right now because I go into further detail on some of these concepts there, and they still apply to this game as well. What's just so untenable about Spirit's Dust 2 CT side is that Donk is fucking everywhere. He will be on the B side, he will be in mid, he will be on cat, he'll be holding A side on platform, he'll be pushing long and holding from pit. It doesn't matter where you think he's going, he's gonna be in the right spot at the right time. And that's as opposed to what they used to do, which was stick Donk on B side, stick Shiro on A side, and there was a clear gap for where you wanted to go if you were the enemy team, if you wanted to take down Spirit easily. They now play one of the most fluid and adaptable defenses that I have ever seen on this map. And when Donk is just doing this shit, it's gotta be so demoralizing. It's like you kill Magix in pit. Why would there be another person tucked in pit baiting the fuck out of his teammate? Oh no, it's Donk, get fucked. And then it's like you take care of Donk, okay, don't worry, Shiro is right behind him having an incredible peak performance himself, and it's just, dude, what are you supposed to do when Shiro is also playing like a superstar? It's hard enough to limit Donk's damage, but Shiro is so reliable as this anchor piece. He's so great in the clutch. He's not going to miss easy shots right now. He is like a mini Device. He doesn't quite reach that peak level where Device was such a great two-way player, but he plays a similar style, and he does it super well. Eternal Fire are a great Dust 2 team. Woxic has been a Dust 2 merchant his entire career, and they only managed to win a single T-side round. I thought it was funny that Launders made a comment about how watching Spirit feels a lot like watching Astralis. And I think that comparison works in some ways, but not in the sense they play the same style. Because if you harken back to Prime Astralis, the reason they were so dominant is they were by far the best tactical team in the world, and their roster was so fucking deep. Not only was Device no worse than the third best player in the world, you had Magisk and Dupree, who were such versatile riflers, could take over the game with a drop of a hat. You had Zipnix, who was the most unholy support player we've ever seen, where it didn't matter at what point in the game you were. If it came down to a 1v2, Zipnix would win it more often than not. And you had Glaive, who was not only having the finger on the pulse as one of the best tactical minds in the game, but was so good as a rifler himself. He could have dominant performances. He could lead the team in tournaments sometimes. So Astralis were essentially the perfect Counter-Strike machine. Spirit aren't like that. Spirit are vulnerable at points. Sometimes they stumble. What's so overwhelming about Spirit and why they seem so unbeatable is that when they are cooking, these gunfights look unfair. Like, you are breathing a sigh of relief if you kill Donk after he gets one trade, and then you have to deal with Shiro. That's the preferred situation. Put that in perspective. Dealing with Shiro is the preferred outcome. It's just dominance by force. They're just gonna bang your head off right now, and I don't see a team in the world who can stop them unless they underperform. And most of Mirage, I think, showed that really well. Where, I mean, dude, I tweeted this out live during the event, but it was like watching Kobe and Shaq. It was Shiro and Donk, just this unstoppable duo who traded monster multi-kill rounds, band for band, bar for bar, the entirety of that first half. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like, even if you kill Donk at the beginning of the round, you have Shiro hitting these unholy clutches, or Donk is just going to delete you when they push B. Like, where do you go? Where do you go other than hoping that you can just catch them off guard with a good flash or good utility usage? What do you do against this team when they're just firing on all cylinders like this? For the game, Shiro died 8 times. That means the uptime he had throughout this game was insane. And that's just more opportunities for Spirit to win. Eternal Fire did their best. It's not like they played poorly. They just did not have the matchup and firepower to deal with this. Zantares blitzed Nico. He outplayed Zaiwu. He had nothing he could do against Donk and Shiro. And even when you get both of these motherfuckers onto the spectator screen, you have Zontix, who almost in every way possible fucks up this clutch, but still finds the gap with the Molotov to kill Zantares with less than 60 milliseconds left on the bomb timer. Like, at that point, you just gotta throw your hands up if you're EF, right? Like, they got it. You know, the Counter-Strike gods were on their side today. Like, it's not even like what do you say when those kinds of rounds happen? It was just like inevitable that Spirit won. That's why I'm not really bothered with much analysis. I've kind of run out of words, man. It's like nothing that Eternal Fire could do, short of just like leveling up and Xantar's just getting 4Ks every round, would have changed the outcome of this game. This was just dominance. I've said that already, and I'll say it again. And Spirit start off 2025 with another title. And dude, I don't know, like at what point are we talking about like a potential Spirit era, the same way we were talking about FaZe and Na'Vi? It's got to be in the discussions. They have to do well at Katowice for sure, and this is only the first event, so we don't know. The form can only maintain itself, and we know that there are flaws with this team. Those don't just go away. They've just been minimized during this run of form. All I know is that it was exciting Counter-Strike, we got a great grand finals, and Donk continues to stack that trophy case. Anyways, my name is LionHeartZ. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you to our channel members: Justin, Jesse, Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1, Cody Foxworthy, and Justin Vegt. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so at the link in the description down below. For $5 a month, you can support me directly. It helps out immensely, and if you do, you get an exclusive role in our community Discord, as well as your name at the end of the video, just like this. Thank you so much to our channel members. Make sure you follow me on Twitch. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'll be streaming tonight. I love you all. Thank you for joining me for yet another tournament of recaps. I'll see you guys for Katowice. Have a great day. Peace.